Hello there. Hello there, food lovers, and welcome back to Stuff, the podcast where we talk about food, cooking our favourite ingredients, and helping you be creative and inventive in the kitchen.
It's hosted by me, George Egg, the snack hacker, and the voice you just heard, face you just saw, Martin O'Gell, the Lagom chef.
Hello.
This is a show all about making food accessible, fun, and above all, delicious.
Just realised I sat on my phone. Each week, we'll be chatting about some of ours and our listeners' favourite stories. So please come and get involved and message us on @thestuffpodcast on Instagram, YouTube, and all of your
And subscribe.
streaming
and follow
platforms.
Us, and comment and share and tell your friends.
Let me put this
Go
away.
to your local cafe and tell everyone.
Oh, right, George, we've got a guest.
We've got a guest. This is our favourite bit, listeners, because every now and then, every sort of third, fourth episode, we have a guest.
And we learn new things.
We do learn new things, and we've got a fantastic guest. Let's put our hands together for Melissa Thompson.
Woo!
Thanks for having me.
That's all right. Thanks for
coming.
coming. Oh, it's like we've done it.
Oh, no. Jinx. Can't speak now.
Oh. So what do we do now? Let's just read a bit of first bit. No, Melissa, welcome. Thank you for coming.
Oh, thank you for having me.
I reckon just for people that potentially don't know who you are, just give us a little quick whistle-stop tour on yourself.
I am a cook, and I like I do a lot of barbecuing. I wrote a book called Motherland. I was trying to
I've got it here. Oh my goodness! What is this book here?
that one.
Lovely. It's a very nice.
It feels
finish.
nice.
I know,
Yeah.
it is. I know. It's a really nice tactile book. I mean,
Thanks.
it's great inside as well, but it does feel good.
Yeah, no, thanks. And what else? I write a little bit. I do a bit of broadcasting, and
What was your sort of path into food becoming your your career, I guess.
my main thing.
Yeah.
So I was a journalist. That was my main thing. I didn't exclusively write about food, but I wrote a bit about food. And then I started off local newspaper journalism, and then I ended up in London working on a national newspaper. And then I saw an advert once about hosting a supper club. Not hosting, like learning how to run a supper club from your own home, or like from another space. And then I went on it. It was a weekend course, and it was like a bit on a whim. And then I just started doing supper clubs, and then they grew into pop-ups, and then I'd take over, like do residencies, and then I had a baby back in 2018, so I stopped cooking. Thank you very much. I mean, it was like 7 years ago.
That's
but
all right.
thanks
Still,
so much.
congratulations.
And then I started writing about food exclusively, but then still cooking, and then everything else just kind of came out of that. Like, I mean, you kind of just fall into these things, don't you? Really?
Yeah. What can you remember your first pop-up meal? What you cooked?
What I cooked, so it was always based around karage chicken, like the Japanese fried chicken.
Yeah.
Because my sister-in-law taught me how to make it. Well, she made it, and then I was like, "This is amazing." And then I was like, I started making it all the time for me and my friends, like literally every weekend. I'd go around to my mate's house with all the ingredients, and it just got a bit expensive. So I was like, it was almost like dealing like karage chicken, but I was like, I need to start selling it to pay for my own supply. And then that was it. So it was like karage chicken, and I'd make like gyoza, and then I'd incorporate a bit of like smoked food, so like I don't know, like smoked short rib, like with miso, and then it kind of got a bit more expansive, and that was kind of it, really.
So very Asian to start off with.
Yeah, well,
like, lots of
specifically
Asian-
Japanese,
Right,
because it was just kind of like it was all based around the karage, and then I kind of some things were like like gyoza were gyoza, like pork and chive gyoza, typically, or like vegetarian, and then it would and then I kind of started experimenting a bit more, and then I didn't really know where after that to take it, and I remember getting approached by an agent about doing like a book about Japanese like home cooking, and I was like, man, that's not my book to write. Do you know what I mean? That is not. I was like, okay, it's got a bit out of hand now. And then so that was it. And then I guess like lockdown, I kind of was like leaning much more into like comfort, and I was cooking a lot more like. Not cooking a lot more Jamaican food, but I think because that had always been there, but then I kind of like, I guess like lent into it a bit more, because I guess we were all looking for a bit of comfort and connection, right? So I was cooking a lot of dishes that meant a lot to me, kind of like that reminded me of like family who I couldn't see because we couldn't see anyone. And that was it really.
And is that what kind of led to the book? Because, you know, the book is full of family food, isn't it? And food from, you know, your growing up. What was food like when you were growing up? Who did most of the cooking?
I kind of say that my dad did most of the cooking, and I think my mum's just like, hello, because she did a lot of the kind of like weekday cooking, and then my dad would like be, you know, like up early and then back kind of late, and because he was in the Navy, or there would be periods where he was away, kind of like on, what do they call it when you're in the force? Like, not on assignment, on deployment.
Oh, deployment.
Yes,
yes.
yeah.
On a boat, I don't know.
But on a boat, I mean, he was on a boat. And so then, but then he would cook a lot on the weekends, and like he cooked like a lot of Jamaican food. But because he was in the Navy, he'd like pick up different influences from around the world. So when I was a kid, we lived in Hong Kong for a couple of years. So we ate a lot of like Cantonese food. Like he makes amazing Cantonese food. And so like food was always like just a massive part of like of my childhood. Just kind of like watching the processes. I love food. Like my parents, like from Hong Kong, they had these like stories, like me and my brother, like because we were quite cute, and like they'd be in a restaurant, and then all of a sudden we'd be gone, and then we'd like arrive with like lobster claws in our hands or like crab claws, because we'd like managed to charm like the people in the restaurant, so they just wanted to like feed us. I guess if you've got a kid who likes their food, like you want to kind of like feed them, and yeah, I just loved it. Like I guess had I thought more about it, maybe I would have like, I don't know, like gone into restaurants or something. I'm kind of glad I didn't, because I think actually probably that would have put me off. I'm not working restaurants. I mean, like, no thanks. But it's just always been there.
How did it feel, the whole kind of taking the leap from doing journalism to kind of going, right, I'm in the food world now? I mean, was that a daunting thing to do? Because I found it because I went from doing just stand-up to suddenly going, right, I'm going to start cooking on stage, and then feel like I still feel like an imposter in the food world. I still feel like people are going, yeah, he's just a comedian. Who does he think he is, trying to join our
like
clique?
He doesn't know who Escoffier is, and he hasn't done the brigade system. Yeah, kind of. I think because I didn't do it as I can completely resonate with that, and I think, you know, I know that there are holes in my learning, but I think I think fundamentally it's like, can you cook, and can you cook tasty food that people want to eat? And you know, and if you can answer yes to that, then I think you have a place. That there is a space for you. I think because I didn't intentionally set out to do this. I was doing journalism. I kind of like lost the love for that, and I love cooking so much, and so I was like, okay, well, my friends like what I make, so I'm gonna try and do this. And it wasn't even a career, because I had a career. So it was kind of like a hobby. And as I say, it's like a hobby that got out of hand, basically. So it wasn't that daunting for me, because I've never been that intentional about where I wanted it to end up. I just kind of was very intentional about the thing I was doing in that moment. So had I gone out to go, I'm going to stop doing journalism and I'm going to cook for a living, I think I would have been shit scared. But because it wasn't like that, it was kind of all right. Yeah.
Natural flow. I think that's the thing. You see a lot of people on social media that don't have that traditional cooking background, but they love food. And that's the thing that we always say on this pod. It's just like the people that are doing good things, the people that you can tell just genuinely love what they're doing, and they're just invested.
Yes.
Whereas a lot of the chefs are just like haggard and they hate their life, and they're just trying to do it to blend in and be part of social media. So, you know, like Ollie, El Burrito Monster, he makes those mad like meals, all that. He's just got this mad passion for creating weird and wonderful combinations. And you can tell he loves it, you know?
Yeah.
So
that's why I think it's good about social media, because it has kind of democratized the food world, right? And I think, you know, there's always been such a rigid system, and maybe that's why for someone like me it never appealed, kind of. Whereas nowadays there's so many routes into food, and you know, I think like fair play to restaurant chefs, because it's difficult, but then I also think that kind of hierarchy then also breeds some of the more unsavory aspects to food, like, you know, being, because like when you are just like peed off with your life, then that's when you start like, can I swear?
of course you can.
Yeah.
That's when you start shitting on the people beneath, right? Because it's like they've had to deal with that shit.
Yeah.
So when they get to that level, I'm not everyone, but then a lot of them are just like, well, I had to go and suffer this, like in you know, terrible conditions in restaurants, and now it's my turn to give back in a really bad way. And that's what I think, because there are a lot of people I think who now have a career in food that wouldn't have necessarily made it in restaurant environments, probably myself included, who are doing amazing things, cooking delicious food, and getting a lot of other people interested in food as well.
Yeah. No, I had a similar experience. I worked in Soho for like 5 years in one restaurant, And it was so lovely. It was like, this is such a wonderful experience.
Oh,
No
nice.
shouting, beautiful times. And I was like, I've had enough of the niceties. I want to go somewhere that's like a big team. And I was like 6 months, hated my life.
Okay,
It was just
okay.
like, yeah, there's just these people that you could tell had that attitude. They're like, well, yeah, I've been through that. I've burnt myself. I've done it. So fuck you.
Yes.
You have to now deal with it. It's like, no, we should all be on a team.
Yes.
It was
It
like,
doesn't
yeah.
have to be like this,
No.
right? It doesn't have to be like this.
No,
Yeah.
no.
Your thing seems to be very much at the moment, certainly barbecue food, and you're doing a lot of festivals. I've seen lots of food demos.
Yes.
How do you find that? How did that kind of come about? Was that off the back of doing the supper clubs or social media or?
No, I think it was quite different actually. I think it was just because it was like, so the whole barbecue thing again happened like by accident. I really like cooking over fire, and I just started doing it more. And then I think Weber got in touch with me, and at first it was like very much kind of like, oh, you know, like let's go send you a barbecue and then do some content, and then it just like again it kind of just got out of hand, and I just
Things keep getting out of hand.
We should go for a drink or something. See what
see what happens then. I don't know, 2 days later, oh honey, I'm home. Like it was just. Like and then so like cooking more barbecue, and then you know, and like Metopia for instance, which is like my favorite food festival, like of all of them. And I used to go as a punter, and then one year, like Molly, who organises it, she was like, "Melissa, do you want to cook at it?" And I was like, "Oh my god, I'd love to." So then I got Maureen involved from Maureen's Brixton Kitchen, and then we've always done it together. So I think this year is our 4th year, and we're doing it in Glasgow. They're going to Glasgow for the first time, and then it just happens like and it's really nice because I've been to some food festivals. I won't mention any names, but I'll tell you afterwards.
we can probably guess.
And they're just like it's like I think so. My marker now is like, would I pay to go? If I would pay to go, then I probably would like to go and be part of it and cook there. And to Metopia, I went as a punter, and like you know, the people who go to Metopia are like geeky as anything. Like I remember the first year I went and I'd gone to Jamaica to research the book, and I brought back loads of pimento, loads of Scotch bonnet, and I put them in the dish I was cooking in Metopia. And people wanted to know about that sort of stuff. If I did that at another festival, like people wouldn't have given a shit at all.
Yeah.
But at Metopia, and like so you have these people and they're like, oh yeah, so you got the pimento from Jamaica, did you? I'm like, yeah. And they're like, oh, tell me about it and stuff. And I'm like talking to them thinking like, do you actually care? And they do. They do care.
That's
And it's
really
so it's really nice. Yeah. Have you been to
Have
Have you been to
No,
Metopia?
I
Yeah, because I've seen the footage of it and it looks.
I
looks
actually
epic. It
started
looks
just
like such a
drifting.
show.
I was just thinking about that pork we had the other year.
That you didn't say
one of my friends, Sarah, she always says, "Oh, do you want to come?" Because tickets go really quickly, don't they?
Yeah, really quickly.
Yeah, she's like, "Come on the Saturday with me," and I'm like, "Yeah." And then before I've even thought about it, they've gone.
It's just nice because you walk in there and the smell hits you. It's like the smell of wood smoke and then of meat. All the meat's like really well sourced and everything's kind of like. I think some people might think it's quite macho, but I don't because I just don't. I think like look because it's all kind of like would it be cast iron? Would you make barbecue? Like do you know what I mean? It's all like iron and kind of all like metal and like flames and stuff. Yeah, but it's like everyone's just nice. They're all like they're all nice, and it's like it's a real eclectic mix of like food from around the world, and it's just. Like all the dishes taste really good, and it's just nice. Like a few beers, and it's just great.
Well, certainly my experience of the, you know, I mean, I did a bit of did a barbecue demo at Pub in the Park a few years ago with Adam Purnell, and it just feels like I don't know, everyone was just so sweet, so supportive, so it didn't feel like there was any of that kind of sort of bravado thing. Despite the leather aprons and the trucker caps,
always going.
Everyone's still just sort of like, oh, it's really lovely to meet you. No, really nice.
Before we move on, we've got one last question here for our little intro. What's your favourite dish to cook for family and friends?
Ooh, I mean, you've been talking about pork belly. I do like. I love a bit of jerk pork. I love cooking jerk pork. Or I think for family and friends, so I really like ribs. So ribs were, I think, one of the first things. So my dad used to always cook ribs on the barbecue, and like some nice spare ribs. And I've got this like sauce, which like a barbecue sauce, which like a secret ingredient is some crispy onions in the sauce, and you blitz them together. And
And
it just it kind of like. It creates like smoothness and kind of, I guess they bring like a lot of sweetness, and it's just, they really like, I think the crispy onions help like the sauce stick, and then they're just really tasty. So I think probably like a nice little, like some spare ribs or jerk pork.
sweet Lord.
Yeah.
Hey, I've got one more thing I want to ask you about before we move on to the next bit, and that's your dehydrating, because that was a real, I mean, you got into that, didn't you?
did.
And you did some
got out of
seriously
hand.
good. It got out of hand again. Tell us about that. Tell the listeners about your dehydrating.
So I mean, really in a nutshell. So my I was trying to make a Christmas wreath, and it was ugly. It was awful, because actually there is a method to making a Christmas wreath. And so then, to try to salvage it, I thought I'd dry some slices of I was going to say onion. Who wants onion on a Christmas wreath?
Orange?
No, God, I was going to say
Lemon?
Martin. Yeah,
Pineapple?
onion. Thanks, Martin. Oh my God. And then and I was like, oh, how do I do that? And I was like, oh, my air fryer has a dehydration setting. Let me see if it works. And it did. And then I was like, oh, let me see if I can make some Scotch bonnet powder, dry some Scotch bonnets, because you never see Scotch bonnet powder. And then that worked. And I was like, this is amazing. So I just went on a bit of a mission of literally dehydrating anything I could get my hands on. And it's so interesting, because when you dehydrate something, obviously you're completely changing the property of it, and it doesn't quite it doesn't quite go how you expect it to. I've dehydrated blue cheese, and I thought that was going to be sort of really slap you around the face flavors, and actually it's not. It's quite kind of almost quite almost sharp, but not overly sharp. It's just quite. It still has that kind of savouriness that you get with cheese, and it's just quite nice. I've dehydrated feta, and that's delicious as an ingredient. It's so exciting. And then other stuff like making different dehydrated peppers, or making my own smoked paprika, smoking the red peppers on the barbecue. It's probably the sort of smoked paprika maybe you get in Hungary, right? Where it's fresh, and a lot of the stuff we get isn't that fresh.
Yeah.
And so it's just really nice. I've been trying to dehydrate some black olives, work in progress. They're not that great at the moment, but there's potential.
In what way is it work in progress?
Because they're quite oily.
Yeah, right.
Oil is the enemy of
a
dehydration.
like a sort of paste.
I was going to say the thing, because I did a whole Frozen series ages ago where I just got excited and started freezing things.
Grating things. Yes.
So I did that, and then for me, I've been a chef since I was 15, and you kind of hit this plateau with food, and you're like, oh, it's just a means to cooking something. And then all of a sudden you do something slightly different, like dehydrating or whatever, and then you start really thinking about things in a different way. You were saying about the feta and then about the olives, and it was when I was freezing stuff, it was oil is terrible to freeze. It freezes, but it doesn't go hard.
Of course.
So when you were freezing, I don't know, anchovies, you're oh, that'd be great just to grate over. And then you have these floppy, semi-frozen things. You're right, why didn't that work? Oh, because of this, because of that. And then all of a sudden you're well, what if I did this? And what if I did that? And that's when I think, cooking becomes so exciting again, when you find that new little thing, even if it is something like barbecuing or...
So with the anchovies, because with dehydrating anything oily, so with the blue cheese, I had to basically press it between loads of kitchen towel to try to extract as much oil as possible. And then it did work? Did you get anywhere with that?
No, so I did this one that was a fermented black bean log. I started making these flavour logs. So I made just Asian flavours, pressed it into this paste, and then put them in these little cubes, and then grated it over fresh truffles over it was really good, work in progress,
nice.
But I again got very carried away with it all and did lots of weird things.
I need to get out of hand with
get out of hand.
Get out of hand
Get
now.
that, you get that nettle juice going. Should we move on to question of the week? Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to move on to this section of the show called Question of the Week. Do you want to do the question of the week?
Well, I will. I'll explain to the listeners who might just come to the first time listening, watching. We pose a question at the beginning of the episode, and then at this point, usually the guest goes, "Is that just the beginning?" And then we answer it at the end. So the question is...
We all know the answer to this one.
Yeah, I know. Go on.
Which country holds an annual tomato fight?
Italy. Oh shit! Oh no, Spain. Oh god!
Well, it could be Italy or Spain, couldn't it?
Oh, it could be.
Or it could be
a more specific place in one of those places that's maybe not.
Yes, it should be. It should have been.
I don't know.
Oh, is it?
Isn't it San Marzano?
I don't know.
Bougie tomato fight,
isn't it?
Throwing tins at each other.
Isn't it Dolmio?
Well, normally what we do is we pose the question, we have a little discussion, and then Later on in the show, we answer the question, so it
You
kind
know,
of like hooks people in.
there's
What?
you said, "Oh, we know the answer to this," and I was like, "Yeah, we do." But I actually don't. I mean,
I was only winding you
seen,
up just to make you feel nervous. I liked
Yeah,
it.
no, because I've seen loads of footage of it, but I actually couldn't tell you where it is.
I know
I
it
thought
is.
you knew the answer, and you were looking at me like, "Why would you say Italy?" Like,
Yeah.
but-
It's just teasing.
But it
I'm
is
just
Italy or Spain,
teasing.
isn't
I
it?
think it's Italy.
Because I remember seeing the
Gotta be
videos, and I'm like,
tomatoes, isn't
what a waste of tomatoes.
Yeah.
That's
Glasgow.
exactly what I thought.
Glasgow do it a lot, I think.
Do they?
With iron
With
brew or
their
something.
famous Scottish tomatoes.
Yeah, exactly. Love it. Right, come on. We're going to we posed a question. We'll pick that up. I don't know what that was. Bit of pork. But later on in the show. We've now got a section here that says quick fire. This is all new. We've got notes.
So this
We
is
never
this is
normally
the
read
thing.
them.
So normally when we don't have a guest, we don't do this bit, but we do this bit when we have a guest, and you do quite well.
Oh, this is the same thing we normally do.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
I go to pieces.
Yeah, George panics.
It's like a sort
yes,
of
I think I've
silly.
seen this.
It's
Yeah.
a silly.
I heard it.
I'll get the
Yeah.
timer.
Okay.
You got 30 seconds to name number. But the thing, last time we did it, we did this thing where we had to go through the alphabet and say a food for
Yes.
each letter of the alphabet.
That's not what this is.
No, I think this one is you got 30 seconds to name as many like things that you'd have on toast or something like that.
Like ham on toast.
Like ham on toast.
Do you like ham on toast?
Yeah.
Yes. See?
But that would be like. I mean,
Ham on
as in,
toast.
as in, it's not. I wouldn't make it because it's just ham on toast. Like you can't make ham on toast.
Thank you.
It's like it's not even a sandwich.
Yeah, no,
it's a
that's
half
the
job.
first one we did. It was things on toast, and Martin was going cheese and like beans there, and he went ham, and I said, "What do you mean ham on toast?" He was like, "Well, you could put ham on toast." I was like, "Well, you could put anything on toast. You put,
Yeah,
like,
we've
you
got
know,
a little like crispy
Lego on
like
toast."
crostini with a little bit of.
Anyway, but then it used
And
that
then there's
too
a
much.
book over there that's something on toast. Where's the book gone?
We did have a
Move.
Anyway,
They
we're not
sold
gonna
it.
do-
Anyway, let's
we're
do
not going
it.
to do something on toast.
Right,
again.
what's our topics? Here we go, Sadie.
So
Producer Sadie.
Sadie's going to give us our topics.
Melissa can go first.
Thank you very
Guest.
much. Thank you.
Okay,
30 seconds to name as many.
as many some things. Okay, so don't say it yet. And are you going to do the timer? Or are you gonna...
Oh, who's going to count?
But I just go to pieces. I can't.
Okay,
I
George.
just panic.
Come on, calm down now.
I feel panic now.
Right, 30 seconds to
Oh yeah,
name
so
as.
just say just some of the other episodes.
I love
we get
how
through it,
succinct-
we do it, and then we go, how many was that? And Sadie go, oh, I don't know. I thought you were counting. I thought you were counting. And then there was one episode where Sadie went, I think it was about 12. And it's like, it can't be about. It's got to be the right number.
I've forgotten what the topic is. No,
Okay.
right, no, I'm good. Right, 30 seconds to name as many things you would find in a bakery.
Okay.
Ready, go.
Croissant, pain au chocolat, sourdough, a tin loaf, a cookie. They sell cookies. A wholemeal loaf, a granary loaf, a granary sourdough. No, I'm joking. That's cheating. Pain au raisin. I've said that already. What's the square croissant called? I
had one yesterday. I can't remember
What's
what it's
it called?
No, I can't remember. I did have one yesterday.
Four.
Oh my God! What are the Danishes? I said pain au chocolat. Oh God, that's
It's
so
horrible,
annoying.
isn't it?
So
It's so
That's
horrible.
really irritating.
I'm going to start sweating.
how many?
About 10.
10?
About
Okay.
10. Who's next?
You go, George.
Shall I go next? Okay.
Right.
So you have 30 seconds to list off as many things that can be found, foods that can be found in a can.
Oh, go.
Water.
Oh,
Beans. Soup. Coke. Pepsi.
Food.
Food or drink?
Don't discuss it. Keep thinking. Come on.
specifically
Use those-
foods.
Oh, okay.
Focus. What exploded on me?
I just go
we've just been talking
I
about
said
it.
soup,
We've been
didn't I?
talking about it, the festival.
tomatoes.
Time up.
Chopped.
About one.
Honestly, I
Six.
can't. Does that not count as food? Please. How many not drinks did I get? So 6 in a way. If we're allowing drinks, we should allow drinks.
I was potatoes. Remember those potatoes exploded on me, and you love
yeah.
cooking tin
I
potatoes.
love tin
Why did they
potatoes.
explode on you?
I think
They're
they get
full of water.
waterlogged, and then
You
when
put
you
them in
when
the
you
oven.
roast them,
They go.
yeah.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
Dangerous.
Paf.
Wow.
You ready?
Go on.
Foods that have rude or suggestive names.
Cock a van, spike dick,
Chocolate salty balls.
banana split.
Creative.
Raspberry Ripple. Raspberry Ripple nipple.
Oh,
It's not Cockney rhyming slang.
You didn't define the rules.
This is such a stupid game.
Chocolate something. Rusty. Chocolate starfish. Chocolate.
That's not food.
Toblerone.
It can be. I bet they exist.
Actually, they probably do. And Summers or something, a box of chocolate starfish.
That was rubbish. That was a rubbish.
So did I
one.
win?
How many did you get? 4. You won.
Yes!
Guest wins. Guest wins.
Always. Guest always
Guest
wins.
wins.
You win a book. What? Give us some. Go on.
Oh. Tarts. Just general tarts.
Jack's.
You've got to put the emphasis on the flap.
Right.
I like tarts. Tarts.
Tarts. Oh,
Well done, Melissa.
well, I'm
Thank you.
pissed off now.
Thank you.
What are we doing now? Quick fire. Star ingredient. Let's move to star ingredient of the week.
So each week we choose an ingredient which
a dish.
we talk about a bit, or a dish. What's usually an ingredient is that the dish is more the.
Okay, let's carry on then. Sorry about that. It just says there.
Oh, does it say that as well? Oh no, it's just an ingredient or a dish. But it's
Pass me a pencil.
It's
I'll scribble it out.
usually an ingredient. It's usually an ingredient. And Melissa has chosen our ingredient this week, and the ingredient is
Tamarind.
tamarind.
I'm excited because I never cook with tamarind.
Okay.
Same here. Sorry.
No, that's I got too excited.
Yes, as I said to you in a message, it's a culinary blind spot for me. Tell us about tamarind.
So tamarind is a pod that grows on the tamarind tree, I assume.
You could just tell us anything, we'll agree. Yeah.
And it's like that, and then it's basically ripe when it kind of the shell goes crispy. And so I've actually bought some tamarind
wow.
in the pod. First of all, I bought different iterations of tamarind.
Yeah,
but I
right.
wanted you to have it.
Is this done? Still going?
Yeah, that's done.
You're done?
So these are tamarind pods, and so they're ripe like this.
Can you gobble it like that?
Yep.
Great.
So and so you basically just crack it. That's it.
Oh, there we go.
And
It's like a monkey nut.
And then it comes out like this as a pod, and you take off that pith. It's got that stringy bit.
Yeah.
So you peel that off, and then it has got hard seeds inside, and then you just eat that.
Oh, sweet.
So sweet, a bit tangy, like.
I thought it was going to be more tangy than that.
So so you have the block.
Sorry, am I sort of drawing off what's?
No, so
on
you
the-
just like kind of and see all that brown pith. So en masse it is. So you can just like I love snacking on these just as they are. They're delicious. And then you can so if you take that off the seed, and this is like sweet tamarind. I mean, sometimes it is a bit tartar, and you can buy like a block of tamarind, which is what I make a barbecue sauce out of. Because it just lends itself really well. So you kind of like cook it all down, and you have to like strain it and push it through, and then you get this stuff which is like very, very tart and kind of like that. And then this has got like sort of onions and a bit of garlic. It's got a bit of beer in there, so that's like a tamarind barbecue sauce, which is just lovely, like pasted over stuff. And then what I've done is kind of talk about the dish.
Talk about anything.
Yeah,
you
bet.
It's just like, so this is like great for barbecue stuff because it's got obviously like a lot of natural sugars in there which caramelize beautifully when you do it. So you could do it with like pork or you could do it with chicken. So what I've done is I've got so this is just chicken thigh that's actually only been marinated in part of my dehydration in Jamaican 7 spice. So there's like garlic, onion, spring onion, Scotch bonnet, thyme, a bit of salt, a bit of sugar in that. And so then what I'm going to do is cook that up, and then this is some of this barbecue sauce, but also run down with a little bit of the apple molasses that I made for a bit of extra sweetness, and we're going to just brush that over the chicken.
Wow.
Smoky mushrooms. You can come again.
Our last guest brought in a peanut butter and jam sandwich. So thank you.
Oh, not at all. I love tamarind because I just think it's got so many different uses. And like, you know, you could just make like lots of different things about it. And then do you want to try a bit of this?
Oh, God, it tastes like a better version of Worcestershire sauce.
Yeah, so it's got like, because it has got a bit of, oh, sorry.
That's all right.
You're about to wash your hands.
Oh.
Thank you.
Who needs spoons?
Yeah.
So there's a bit of a sweetness in there.
Oh, wow.
I just think of that on chips.
Yes.
Oh.
Well, because it kind of is like a bit of a HP almost, isn't
Yeah.
it? Kind of like brown sauce.
Do you know what I brought along just because?
Oh, because HP sauce has tamarind in it, by the way.
George is excited. He's doing his excited shuffle. Here he goes. Should you start cooking that chicken for you?
Yeah, so I thought I've got a. I was speaking to the mic. I've got a tamarind blind spot, and then I was looking in the cupboard and realised that the two things that I've got in the cupboard that they've got tamarind in are, of course, HP sauce and Worcester sauce.
I did not know Worcester sauce had it.
Yeah, it's in there. It's what have I got? Malt vinegar.
Just fry it on
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Nice one. Thanks, Martin.
Malt vinegar, spirit vinegar, molasses, sugar, salt, anchovies, and then tamarind.
Perfect.
So yeah,
Perfect.
it's not even that far down the list.
Nice. Look, and I've got a little basting brush as well for.
Melissa, have you tried dehydrating tamarind?
No, I haven't.
Because that would make an amazing
It would.
sour powder, wouldn't it?
Yes.
To put it on
I
desserts
can't
or something.
believe I haven't thought of that, George.
I thought you were gonna. I was expecting you to bring out a little bit of tamarind dust.
No,
but-
I know.
I tell you
But
what, the
there we
most
go, you can do
annoying thing about dehydrating that is picking that all apart.
Yeah, but
That'd be a real. You don't get
It
much
would be-
bang for your buck, do you? When
No.
you're like,
I mean, but back in the day, before I realised you could buy a whole block of it, I would actually like spend ages.
Really?
Yeah, and then cooking it down. But you can buy a whole block. So in Jamaica, you have these like little sweets which are called tamarind balls, and they're like covered in sugar, and they're super tart, like really tart. I don't actually like them. They're probably a little bit too sweet. And obviously, the kind of sugar on the outside kind of like is a good contrast for it. But these things, I can just sort of sit there and just like munch away at them. For
Are they like?
hours.
I can imagine them almost being like reverse tangfastics. If you've got the sugar on the outside and then it's tart in the middle, whereas tangfastic is kind of sugar in the middle with the.
Oh yeah, with their
Malic
sour
and the
stuff
sour
on the
on the
outside.
outside, yeah.
Yeah, possibly actually.
going in for seconds.
Yeah,
of this.
yeah. So what we can do, is that we're going to baste it with this, with the apple molasses and tamarind sauce, and then just put a bit of that on the outside.
Did you make the apple molasses?
Yes.
How do you do that?
So you just juice loads of apples and then you reduce it. There's a video on my Instagram.
Oh,
actually,
yeah.
Martin, if you want to go and have a
I
little
will.
look.
Listeners, go and find the video.
Yeah.
And learn and recreate the apple molasses.
God,
And
you
you can-
really had sex with that camera then.
I really
you?
did. I was saying that.
And you can actually you can use shop bought apple juice as well. But what's good about like juicing it yourself is you can use like cookers. Yeah, that's the Scotch bonnet.
Straight over them.
Because you can do like if you have cooking apples and eating apples, then you get a real tartness. Because I should have brought in a bit of the apple molasses, but you get that tartness of it, and you taste it, and you're like, yeah, it's kind of apples, but it's like it's so complex and really nice.
Wowee. How you doing there, Mark?
Yeah.
So there is a bit. I've got I bought a probe as well. If you want a probe.
Medium rare chicken. You all right?
Yeah, you first. There was a bit of oil in the marinade, but you don't. So when you dehydrate Scotch bonnets and you grind it up, you inhale Scotch bonnet dust, and you're coughing for absolute days. It's awful. Yeah.
Party over here.
Thank you for doing this, Martin. Thanks for.
This is probably why you do it on a barbecue, so you get that waft.
Outside.
Outside
Yes.
the tractor.
Yes. So what do you think of the tamarind? Do you like it?
Yeah, it's lovely. It's well, like you said, it's not as I was expecting it to be like super sour, but
Yeah.
So you can get more sour stuff than that. When
It's
you get
like
the blocks, it
sort
typically
of
is more
slightly
sour.
sour date almost or something, isn't it? Just the outside.
Because this is very, very sweet.
So
It's
why
just-
is it sweet? Why is there sweet tamarind? Is that naturally a sweet version? Or
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming that this is more just for eating. But then when I get the block, I need to look at the label. When you get the block, I mean, it is just a lot more tart. So if you were to have some of that, it will be like very kind of like.
And
Yeah.
with the block, do you actually use the block? Because I remember reading something about sort of soaking and then
Yes.
getting
So
extracting.
what I do is I because it's quite a big block. It's probably about a kilo, and then I just put it in a massive pan of water. Because also I'm making quite a lot of that at the same time, and then I kind of just let it and break it up because it really sort of sticks together. And then but you get all of this like it's it's deshelled, but you're getting a lot of all of this, like all of these fibers.
Right.
And then you push it through like one of those conical sieve things, and just to get rid of it, like keep all the fibers in the to keep the fibers in the sieve, and then just get as much of that liquid out. And it's just
Quick question before I flip the chicken.
Yes.
Have you ever tried thinking of doing a sticky toffee pudding with tamarind?
No, but you
Is that
could
a
do.
thing?
So no, I don't think so, but it would work really well. Yeah, like in brownies, as like a sort of a caramel, it works really well. Yum. Should I probe it? Do you reckon it's close?
What is it?
That one's good. Maybe a little bit longer.
Touch longer.
Looks good though.
Bloody brilliant.
So in a minute, I'm going to go in there when it's almost ready. I'm just going to whack this over all of it, but not too early, because otherwise it will burn.
Oh, it's a bit hazy in here, isn't it?
Listeners, it's hazy in here.
Listeners.
Just for the listeners.
What do we do?
Are we going to tuck in?
Yeah, let's eat.
Can we just tuck in? I suppose we need to talk as well. Right,
Can
I go first?
No, I'll have a spoon.
Really?
That's right,
So would you recommend dipping in this a little bit as well?
Yeah,
Get
you
a little
want.
bit- Yeah.
Yeah, a bit of everything. Oh, yeah.
Oh, Robin. That tartness as well. So
It tastes a lot more tart when it's on something.
That's also going to be the apple molasses, because that's also got a nice bit of tartness to it as well.
I actually got so much dribble in my mouth. Is that the heat?
Yeah, it's a bit of heat.
I'm so bad with spice, but it's not
are you?
It's not
Sorry.
spicy. No, it's not spicy.
There is a little bit of heat there from the Scotch bonnet,
It's
but it's
beautiful.
not going to be like blow your socks off.
I
Hopefully
love
not.
it.
I mean, we're going to talk about spice later on the...
Yes,
So we won't preempt that, but yeah. Oh, gosh, delicious.
that's absolutely beautiful.
Right.
I'm kind of intrigued by like the tamarind dessert kind of side of things. I'm not much of a dessert person, but I wonder what other things you could...
But in a caramel,
Dessert,
in a
yeah.
caramel, it works really well.
Oh.
I brought along some food as well.
Amazing.
Oh, no one
Because-
cares about you, George.
Well, I know, and it feels
Go on.
like it's so. So basically, having a tamarind blind spot and looking online at what it's in, and then realising it's in Worcester sauce, and I thought cheese on toast. So I've made a cheese
quiche.
quiche
No.
with Worcester sauce in it.
No way.
So it's
Amazing.
Nettles in it.
No nettles, I'm afraid. I ate all the nettles, but
that was...
it's just a little. It's a little cheese onion.
It's so
Look at the pastry
sweet,
on
yeah.
that.
What
Cheese and onion quiche.
What is the pastry?
It's the same pastry that I used to make my nettle quiche as well. So it's got some parmesan and mustard in it, and then I
Stunning.
put loads of Worcester sauce in with the mix as well.
Stunning.
So should we try a bit of that?
Yes, please.
Oh, tasty, George.
That's all right, isn't it? I think it needs more Worcester sauce.
What is in it?
Stilton, cheddar,
I was going to say
Blue
Stilton.
cheese, yeah.
Blue cheese really ripping through that.
egg, onion, cream,
Quiche.
Worcester sauce. I'm going to Worcester
Yeah,
sauce.
go on.
mine
Put a
bit
little
more.
bit. I don't think
So
it necessarily needs any more, because I think it's doing quite a lot of background
Might as
work.
well.
I just thought I'd try and get a bit more.
All right, mate.
Sorry. I was worried about giving too much. Food's good, isn't it?
I love food.
So good, isn't it?
Well done, George. I like that.
Oh, well done, Melissa.
Delicious.
Well done, everyone.
Well done, everyone.
We're going to move on to Britain's faves.
I'm excited about this. I've got a lot of questions. Well,
So-
not one question, but yeah.
I've got loads of questions. So every week we choose a kind of a dish that is popular in the country, and we talk about like what you can do with it, how you can make it more exciting, learn about it. And this week it's jerk chicken, and you talked about your favourite dish being jerk ribs, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Or-
jerk pork.
Jerk
Yes,
pork.
yes.
So you're an expert. We need to know all about it. Okay.
So I would start it with jerk pork, actually, because jerk pork is the foundation of jerk. So in the mountains, so you had like the Spanish who first colonized Jamaica, Europeans who colonized Jamaica, and then you had the British who colonized Jamaica, and you'd have people, enslaved people who escaped enslavement and like basically fled to the mountains, and they were known as Maroons, which is like a word rooted in kind of the Spanish language, we think. And there were some of the last remaining indigenous Jamaicans, the Taino, and a lot of them had been murdered or like overworked, still kind of murdered by the Spanish. And so there were a few kind of Taino who survived in the mountains. And so you had the Maroons and the Taino who basically would capture wild pigs because like the Spanish brought loads of livestock to Jamaica. I mean, at one point there was like loads of wild cows in Jamaica. So they brought these pigs to Jamaica. They were up in the mountains. They would capture them, and the British were trying to recapture the Maroons because, if you can imagine, like they were trying to get more like English people to go over to Jamaica, and you'd be like, yeah, come to Jamaica. The weather's great. There are quite a lot of people like living in the mountains who are a little bit annoyed at us for like enslaving them, but like let's not worry about those. And they would like carry out raids on kind of the plantations and stuff, and they were like, rightly so, a threat, right, to the British. And so they had to devise a way of cooking the jerk pork or the pork underground, or like in a way to not give out loads of smoke. Oh. So they would cook it over pimento wood, which is where we get pimento, aka allspice, as we know in Britain. Yeah. So it was traditionally cooked pimento wood. Pimento is like native to Jamaica, so it was like very abundant back then. And they would cook it underground, so it didn't give loads of smoke away. And then at the beginning, so you had things like pepper, like what was it called? Bird pepper, which is like a very small chili. But nowadays it's like Scotch bonnet that's used. It could be like wrapped in leaves, and a lot of the preparation, lots of salt, and the word jerk is both a noun and a verb because it's like it is jerk pork or jerk chicken, but it's also the preparation. So there's like a really old text from like the 17th century which describes or 18th century which describes jerking pork, which is like basically like to lance it, so you can really penetrate with the seasoning, which is as much to preserve it as it was to flavour. And then eventually the Maroons and the British signed a treaty, and so then jerk would be it came down the mountains to be sold commercially. Like, so you had people like literally a big hunk of pork, and they would like kind of slice it and they would sell it. And then one of the areas is still known, like Boston Beach. There's like the Boston Jerk Centre, which is kind of on the north of the island, and that's still kind of like it's considered the home of jerk. And if you go there today, there's like still jerk shacks. It's like kind of like proper kind of like restaurants, always busy. Not necessarily the best jerk you're gonna have, but like if anyone goes to Jamaica, I really recommend going there because it's like just a real like treat for all the senses. Like it looks amazing, it smells amazing. There's like all the hustle and bustle, and then I guess in Jamaica, like not like a lot of people don't eat pork anymore. Like you have the kind of Rastafarian people, but they don't eat a lot of meat anyway. But then some people might eat a bit of fish, a bit of chicken, but they definitely won't eat pork. And so a lot of people don't eat pork. And obviously around the world, there are a lot of people who don't eat pork. So I guess gradually chicken kind of overtook to be known as the primary jerk meat over pork. So the foundation to jerk is Scotch bonnet peppers, thyme. Sorry, Martin.
I was about to say you should have sent me up the mountain. I would have like been like, chew, hang on, there's someone down there.
I don't need no smoke. My chili sense. Thyme, garlic, ginger, and spring onions, and then like they're kind of like is that the five fundamentals of jerk. Oh, pimento! You have to have pimento, right? Like I said, we call it allspice. And then like if you're making like you have a jerk dry rub, which is kind of those things, and then you have like a jerk paste, which is kind of the addition of like a bit of vinegar for a bit of like sourness, a bit of tart, a bit of sugar, a bit of sweetness, obviously salt. And then you have to like traditional jerk has to be cooked over fire in Jamaica. So if you go to that Boston Beach, then like you'll have like the pimento, almost like a raft of like pimento, like not logs because they're not that thin, but like big branches. Yeah. And then the protein sits on top, and it's kind of like roasting quite slowly. And I guess the pimento wood is almost like protecting the protein, so it cooks very slowly, and then you cover it either with more wood or like with zinc, which isn't like that food safe, but you know, like it's tastes damn good. Yeah, exactly. And then but because we can't get pimento in the UK, like people, like if I say that, people always like, oh no, here's a link, you can get pimento wood. But even in Jamaica, like pimento wood's quite scarce. So what I do is I get bay branches and bay leaves, and I will like zone my barbecue. So I've got the coals on one side, and on the side without coals, I'll lay loads of bay, put like the chicken or pork on top, and then like start it really, really slowly. And then because the bay, especially if it's like wet bay, not as in like fresh bay, not
Yeah,
like wet,
yeah.
like dripping
Yeah.
wet kind of thing. And then it kind of like almost like steams above it, and that kind of protects it. And then like you get rid of all the bay like after a couple of hours, and then just hit it with like direct heat, like to get the sugars going, like a bit of caramelization because you want it to be quite dark. And that's it. That's basically jerk, and it's just delicious. And what I find, this is why I always say like jerk for me is like resistance food, because its origins are based in like proper resistance from a brutal period in British history, British Jamaican history. But then it's like lasted the test of time. So like we're still talking about it like 400 years later. And for me, that's like absolutely incredible. And it's like what a legacy. Like those people are amazing. And that's why for me, I you know, like French cooking is like, yeah, whatever. But for me, that's like, you know, I don't know. Are we like, if we're still talking about soufflés in 300 years time, then I will eat my words. But we're still talking about like jerk food in like 400 years after it was first conceived. And that's that's pretty cool, I think, especially for a small island.
Food history's random.
Where would you find the best jerk, chicken or pork in the UK or in London?
So in the UK, so I've got a lot of love for Maureen. So we cook together, and she's amazing. Her jerk pork is sensational. And there's also Original Tasty Jerk, and so they're in Thornton Heath, so like southeast London.
I know the place.
Conveniently quite close to me, and it's like it's so kind of like from the outside you're like it doesn't look up too much, and then you go in. And so if you're buying pork, you have to buy 2 packs because you have to have one for the car journey home and then take some wet wipes so that no one knows that you've just like eaten half of it. Like when you get in, you go, oh yeah, here you go. Obviously you get like chuck all the wrapper out.
It's such a cool place, and
it's
it's basically the route that I used to take from Brighton to where my parents lived in Forest Hill, and we'd go past there and we'd pop in and get it. And do they still have the sign up? They've just got a big sign up inside that just says "Don't worry," haven't they? I'm sure they've got a great big sign that just says.
Because they've got a few. I'm so focused. Like whenever I just get, because there's always a queue, isn't there? There's always a queue.
Huge queue and literally a column of smoke coming out of the chimney.
Yes.
You can see as you approach, you know, they're open because you can just see this.
Follow your nose.
The extractors are just like.
yes.
It's just
it's so good. So that for me is like probably my favourite, because they also they leave the skin on and they manage to. I mean, maybe they boil it a little bit beforehand, but I've seen them do it from like scratch, and like they manage to get like a little bit of crispiness onto that skin, which is quite hard, especially if there's sugar in the marinade, right? Because it just burns before it crisps up. And it's just like, it just yields like under like the sort of slightest little touch of your teeth, and it's really good.
Yes. No, I remember getting the pork from there the first time, and it was just like.
And then sometimes they do like jerk goat as well,
I've not had that.
Which is
goat's so underrated.
Yeah,
I
it
love
is.
it. You know, I was saying about my friend when he made those doubles for me, he did a goat curry, and I was just like, a little hint of gaminess, but it's got some more chili. But love it.
curry goat.
Curry goat. Yeah. Have you ever done jerk? Proper jerk? Any kind of jerk? No, me neither.
No, I mean, I've only had it from that place.
Don't you? Oh, sorry. That's got a recipe.
Hang on, what about Levi Roots?
I love Levi, but buy my book first.
Yeah. Get some of that marinade. Yeah. Well, my question was like, you know, I think it's kind of been answered by hearing the history of jerk. You know, like if I took a step back and I was like, jerk chicken, that was just a marinade. You know, it's just jerk and chicken. But then when you start understanding the full history of it and why certain chefs, Jamie, got a lot of flack for what he did, you know, then it all makes sense when you start really deep diving into the history of stuff.
Because I think it's rooted in a culture of people who kind of like already had quite a lot extracted from them, especially like by the British, and so it's kind of like what I always think with food is that you can like make changes, like my grandparents came to the UK, my Jamaican grandparents came to the UK in the 50s, and I am pretty sure they're both like gone, so I can't ask them, but I'm pretty sure they would have had to make substitutions, right? And like, I appreciate that I live in London, so it's very easy for me to have access to all the ingredients, and it's fine for people to like make substitutions if they can't get what's meant to be in something. But the problem happens when you then present something that you're calling it jerk, for instance, and it's not jerk, and it hasn't got, like, I've seen a jerk recipe that calls for jalapenos, right? And it's like, jerk doesn't have jalapenos. Like, and there was no kind of like, it should have Scotch bonnet, but I couldn't find any Scotch bonnet. It's like, it's jalapeno. So if you're coming, and these people, chefs have big followings, so if you're coming to it for the first time, it's like, like in a pub quiz, like what chili does jerk have in? I know, jalapeno. No, it's not. And that's when it becomes a problem.
Such a fine line, isn't it? Because we talk about it all the time, where we're like, cook to your palate, do what you want to do. But then there's also that side of it about like, protecting the integrity of something that has got such a deep rooted meaning that you never tend to, think about, especially like me. I've been a chef since I was like 15, and I have never made jerk before. It's maybe one of those things that I steer away from, because I'm like, I don't mind taking the piss out of the Italians. Like, a carbonara can have whatever you want in it, but yeah, when it comes to things like, when it's like such a cultural thing and it's like what you really hold on to, then yeah, kind of sticky lines, isn't it?
No, absolutely. I mean, I think what you were saying about your grandparents moving here and using substitutions is a really interesting whole, sort of subject. My friend Matt, both his grandmothers Indian is a Anglo-Indian sort of heritage, and when they came over in the 60s, they were just having to make do what they could and trying to recreate the food that they had when they grew up in Mumbai, but with what they could find. And I mean, a lot of the food he cooks, he uses Bolst's curry powder.
Okay.
He said because it's all they could get in the 70s. And now the food that he kind of thinks of as food of his childhood is, stuff flavor? Using these substitutions and
also I think because all food is kind of fusion food, right? I know people dislike the word fusion, but actually I remember Maria Bradford in her book Sweets Alone, she's like, well, all fusion is extracting the best bits out of different cuisines and putting them together. And I was like, brilliant. And so, I think that's how you create new dishes, by substituting something. And if you make a substitution, I don't think you have to be completely like so kind of, I don't know, like wedded to something that you're like, I cannot, like, you cannot change one thing in this. And also, I'm very conscious as a recipe writer that for me to be like, oh yeah, and then you need to go out and buy this obscure ingredient, and it's going to cost you £7 and you're going to use it once, and then the rest of it is going to sit in your cupboard taking up space. But like, it's just annoying, and I don't expect that. So like, people have the confidence in the kitchen to kind of substitute stuff, but it's just important that they know what the origin is and what the true thing. It's like with the carbonara or like paella, right? Like, I mean, like if I do a dish, I mean, I used to call fucking anything paella, and now I'm like, okay, I need to play by my own rule book and actually not call something with chorizo. Yeah, exactly. I just call it not paella.
Exactly.
I'm like, well,
not so traditional. There's ways around it.
I think in the case of the Jamie situation, I think as soon as profit comes into it, then that's also where you kind of go, well, if he's making an absolute fortune by selling something in the supermarket that's ill-informed or poorly researched, then that's when you can kind of be more critical, because you're kind of going, well,
like if you've got that platform and and you want to do something like that, then just get someone in from the culture, give them, share the wealth, right? Share the wealth, like financial or otherwise, and then get them in to talk about it, because they're the best person to talk about that sort of stuff. I don't understand why more of that isn't done.
Yes. I think use that platform to teach.
Yeah. I'm going to get down for my soapbox.
It's a good soapbox, an important one.
One quick fire one. Vegetarian options. Talked a lot about pork, chicken. What's a good jerk?
Butternut squash. Hasselback butternut squash, and you're like massively increasing the surface area. It's just tasty. Bit of sauce, like have it with a bit of rice, delicious.
It's time, folks, for listeners' questions and stories and wines. And every week we have people writing and messaging, with their kind of questions and so on, and then also their irks and their things that annoy them. So we've got some of those. So I'm going to start with the first one. Rowan.
Go on.
Rowan says, I've been trying to master the poached egg for years. The moment you try and make more than one in a pan, it just goes wrong. The water starts discolouring and you can't see what's going on. Yeah. I've watched loads of Instagram videos, but they're all too quick and make it look too easy. Any tips, please?
Yeah. Go to my YouTube channel. I did a poached egg 101 on my YouTube channel.
You did, didn't you? You tried all the methods.
Well, I tried all of the methods and all of the eggs, and all of the eggs are just wildly different. If you get a Burford Brown and do a poached egg with it, the white goes very rubbery very quickly. Whereas if you get like, I don't know, I think it was like the Happy eggs were one of the best eggs, but that's when you get like a super soft egg. Yeah, they all come out differently.
And how, because I always think about freshness, because then you have more of the solid white rather than that kind of watery white.
Well, it's the same thing, but like you do the freshness piece, but then when you buy them from the supermarket, you're never really going to know 100% which is the freshest out of the lot. So yeah, when I tested it, I think it was 6 different types of eggs, and freshness wasn't a factor I even looked at. But when you do crack them, you can see like the white, it's the album, isn't it? It's the white bit that looks like a big thick bogey, and then you get the watery bit. So that's why some people sieve that bit out, but I'm just like, just put it in and eat it when it comes out, the stringy bit.
Vinegar?
Vinegar, I did vinegar. There is the science behind it. It's like the acid helps set the white, a little bit of salt as well, but I always do vinegar. But yeah, I think it's finding the right egg. Once you find the right egg, stick with that egg.
And you could also, because I remember doing when I was doing my pop-up and I had to do brunch, and I think I had to do like 150 covers at one time, which meant doing 300 eggs. And I'd never done brunch service before because I was completely out of my depth. And I was like, how am I going to do this? So I pre-poached them. So you could like pre-poach like loads, the whole centrifuge thing, right? Take it out, like do it for like, a minute and a half, get them set, and then right at the end, just chuck them back in to heat them up.
Yeah.
Yes, that's
what you see in restaurants all the time as well. It's those little things from restaurants that kind of like, if you can roll it over into your house. And people always come in the comments and they're like, yeah, but who has time to do that? I'm like, mate, it's going to save you loads of time. I was like, if I know I'm going out, I'm going to be hammered, and I've got some mates staying over. Poach back.
I find those sorts of comments so funny. It's like when I do a video and people would go, well, why bother me? You just buy it. It's like, don't watch the video.
Exactly.
So stupid.
Right, next one. Christy asks, are TV chefs actually drinking wine when you see them on morning/lunchtime TV, or is it pre-recorded?
Having done a bit of that, yes, they are, and I'm a lightweight, and it was a mistake for me to drink at 9:30 in the morning. I'll say that. Yeah,
I have often wondered. I guess, you must get up really early for doing something like Saturday Kitchen. So I guess body clock wise, it's probably about noon, isn't it? If you're normally used to getting up at 8 or something.
No, because it is real wine, and I'm sure some people don't drink it. I did drink it, so it is. It is properly wine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, it's got to be, hasn't it?
Not show wine. I think on Sunday brunch they give you the mugs, and I think you can guess whatever they want. They can have a gin and tonic in a mug.
Nice.
Why not? A little whiskey.
Fair enough.
I just had water. I was cooking.
The wine list.
Let's go on to the wine list.
Okay, it looks like we've just got one wine list this week. We actually do have a. Shall we get the board?
Go on.
We've got a chalkboard, and we chalk up. So the way the wine list works is people send in their irks and their concerns. Either we solve them, or we dismiss them and say no, that's stupid, or they go on the board. The board's running out. So over attentive, over familiar waiters.
That comes in a lot. I had 4 today from people saying that.
Oh, they
really
find
hate
it
waiters.
too much. Yeah, well, just when they're sort of topping up all the time, it's like, I'll top up the wine, and when I'm ready to top up the wine.
Why is sausage casing a problem?
Whoa.
Because something has happened to sausages.
Oh my God, supermarket sausages. It's like, what is this?
And even ones that used, like porky whites that used to have natural casings, now they've got fake casings, so you can't pinch the meat out anymore. You do that and they just collapse. The only place you can get decent ones from seems to be actual butchers.
Yeah.
Full circle moment. Let's talk about Dean. Let's get Dean on here.
Dean. Here we go then.
Do you want to say it?
Dean says, Prob's been here before.
Hashtag.
But they need to stop making squeezy condiment bottles. Obviously, it's a waste of plastic, but there's always so much of the condiment left in the bottle that won't squeeze out towards the end. I'm looking at you, mayonnaise.
It's a fair point.
Well, you've got to do the hand slinger, haven't you? You hold the bottle and just... You've got to do like AC/DC, Angus.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, but you're still gonna you won't get all of it because it's got the, especially when it's got the shoulders. Then it kind of settles in the shoulders. You can get your finger in there, but it's never going to get.
Yes, and certainly the squeezy ones, they've normally got a much bigger aperture to get your finger in, haven't they?
Yes. Then you can flick it, flop it out. Flop.
I find the squeezy bottle. I like the aesthetic of a glass bottle, but I find the squeezy bottles easier for getting everything
in
out.
the ass.
Oh, well, exactly. They're just like bang, bang, bang. Oh, now the heel of my hand hurts. Yeah, I don't know what the answer is.
Why they sell them in tubs?
I tell you what, the only thing that I suppose with a plastic.
Why don't they do it in tubs? Why don't they do it like in a margarine tub?
Well, they do with mayonnaise, but mayonnaise. I mean, it's all about. Oh, but you don't get tomato ketchup in a tub, do you? Or in a jar?
That'd be good, wouldn't it?
Can we cut this out?
I'm starting a business.
I think I'm onto something.
One thing I would say with the plastic ones, I suppose you could, if you're careful, you could cut around the shoulder and then you could get everything out, couldn't you?
I like the old shampoo trick or body lotion.
What, just put a bit of water in and...
No, cut it in half, the plastic in half, then you can just get rid of the rest of it out.
Then you can't use the thing again. If you get a condiment tub, mate, that's fucking brilliant.
Forget it.
I'm going to stick it in my phone.
I'm off to Dragon's Den. I've got a wine.
Yeah, that wasn't a good enough wine. I think we figured out how to...
Yes, I think we've come up with answers.
Are you writing a note to say condiment tub?
Hey Siri. Hey ChatGPT, do we have anything?
Here's a wine.
Go on.
It's the fashion of with burgers of putting something outside the burger.
Oh.
Where they put like a skewer through and you've got to gherkin on top or a sausage on top or
If
something like that.
any burger requires a skewer, then it's too big, and you need to take it completely back. Like a burger should fit comfortably in your mouth, not the whole thing, but as an bite of it. Yeah.
You try.
People were talking about the upside down burger. They were saying that's the best way to eat it, because when you have the dome of the burger, when you try and get it, it goes up your nose. But if you flip the bun, then you have the flat bit. Right, it's easier to.
Yeah.
It goes up your nose.
Well, if you have
seeds go up your nose, you mean?
Well. I
suppose so.
But if you flip it, you just.
I suppose if you're moustachey, then it's kind of.
Because what do you do when you get a burger? Flatten it.
But no, I don't think you need to. Because have you ever had a bleeker burger?
Yeah.
Like a bleeker burger is my favourite burger, and that just fits like. You don't have to do anything. Yeah, it's just like it's just lean in. Yeah, exactly. Come to mama.
Well, there we go. I think in fact, can we put things on top of burgers? Well, no, I think we all agreed though, didn't we?
Let me do it in biro.
I think we all agreed a gherkin on top of a burger.
We're gonna have to sort this wine out.
Oh, we haven't got chalk. Yeah, we need to readjust that.
Things on burgers.
I've got another one. Have we got time? What time? How are we doing? I'll just tell you this one really quick.
Okay.
I'm very needy when it comes to making food for people and kind of going, well, what do you think? What do you think? Like that. And it's when
that quiche, the best quiche I've ever had.
A bit under seasoned, but it's all right.
It's when it wasn't.
I was joking.
It's the chili's gone with the throat again. It's when you you make some food for someone, and instead of complimenting what you've done, they'll compliment an ingredient that's in it that's nothing to do with you. So you're like giving someone like that, and they go, "Oh, this is great. I love harissa," and you're like, "Yeah, I didn't make the harissa. That was an ingredient."
Yes, that's so.
Yeah. Oh no, but you didn't go like, "Oh, this Stilton's amazing." But do you know what I mean? That thing where something, yeah.
And that happens to me all the time. Like, say, I'll do like a whole spread. I'll get people around a whole spread, and then like my partner Kate will do like a sauce, and everyone will be sitting there going, "This sauce is amazing," and I'll be like, "Yeah, cheers. That's like literally the one thing I haven't made." Like,
nice came out of a bottle.
Get out. Yeah. No, she's made. No, worse. My partner's made it.
Oh,
yeah.
God.
Yeah, and that's the one thing they compliment.
I've just got jerk sauce all over the notes. Okay. Yeah, it's time for the answer to the question of the week, and the question was, which country holds an annual tomato fight? And it is. Sorry. Mouthful of food. She's taking time now.
Italy.
No.
Spain.
C.
It was Spain.
And does it begin with P? Or is that the ball running?
S.
It's just not going well for me.
The annual La Tomatina is a large-scale tomato fight festival held in Bunol, Spain, where participants throw.
No, sorry, I was asking if the town begins with the S, not if the word Spain begins with S.
No, B.
Okay.
Bunol.
Okay.
Throw overripe tomatoes at each other. It's considered the world's biggest food fight and takes place every last Wednesday of August.
Every last the last Wednesday of August. I thought every last Wednesday in August. Oh, there is only one. Well, there we go. The festival started in 1945 as a food fight between teenage boys during a parade.
Oh,
what naughty boys!
Silly sausages.
Wasteful boys.
Yeah, at least they're classy though. Imagine if they picked up other things.
Like rocks.
Yeah. Oh, the annual rock fight. 7,000 deaths this year. Do we have to?
Didn't last long.
Pick something softer.
When I was a teenager, I used to go on these walking holidays with this group of other boys, and there was one boy called Mark who didn't know like when it was too much. And once we stopped, we were all tired, and we put our rucksacks down, and there was this by these crabapple trees. And we were just sort of throwing crab apples at each other, and he started throwing stones. We were like, "No, Mark, it's just." No, it's too much.
Crab apple's gonna hurt.
Yes, no, it's true. But I mean, stones. Come on.
God's sake, Mark.
Come on, Mark.
Oh dear. That's it.
That's the end of the show.
That's the end of the
That's
show.
the end of the show. We end with Mark.
I feel a bit weird. I don't know if it's the chili.
It's probably the nettle beer.
Yeah,
still.
Probably a bit of too much nettle in me.
Was it strong, the beer?
I've no idea.
Okay.
I don't drink.
Well, I didn't test the specific gravity before or after, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
No one drive home. Ladies and gentlemen, Melissa, thank you.
Before
I do that silly line, thank you.
Thank you so much. Phenomenal food, excellent chat.
Oh, thanks, guys.
Inspiring, educational, and
I learned 3 things. Yeah.
One, not to lean directly over a pan of
Scotch bonnets,
Scotch bonnets frying.
jerk culture, and tamarind.
Yeah.
And
Great.
tomato, 4 things.
And I knew that already.
Oh, right.
Yeah, it's, yeah. Anyway, should we wrap this episode up?
There we go. Let's wrap it up.
Ladies and gentlemen, that has been another wonderful episode of Stuff. We hope we have kept you entertained and you learnt something new.
We did.
Yeah, I did 3 things.
You did.
So,
Once again, make sure you follow us on social media, and so you can get involved in future episodes. And remember, we are on YouTube if people want to see this delicious food, because we do our best to describe what we're doing, but you can see it as well.
Did you do it? So Jen J.
Oh, I see that. It's kind of the
trying to do
phone
it.
like that.
You want like an
And then
aperture
YouTube,
sound. Yeah,
like that,
yes.
and then Instagram, and get Melissa's book.
Oh, yeah.
and which is here. There it is. For listeners listening, I'm holding Motherland, a Jamaican cookbook by Melissa Thompson. It's absolutely brilliant, and not only fantastic inside, it feels lovely. It's got a nice
I'm gonna
texture.
go
Buy it
buy
to
it.
hold.
Buy it to hold,
With
and then
colleagues.
open it up, and it's all full of stuff as well as nice to hold.
Lovely stuff.
stuff.
Melissa, thank you once again.
Thank you.
We'll see you all, when is it? Next week.
Next time. Bye.